Hello, and welcome to the latest edition of TechSpark. This issue concentrates on design thinking, user-centered design, and digital experience, specifically within the financial services industry sector. With our 6-episode podcast series, you can listen to great insights no matter where you are. Your time is precious to us, so whether you're on your way to work or have errands to run, tune in to keep up on the emerging technologies in the world of financial services today. Podcast 4. Do you really know how your users think? By Hiren Patel. Can you afford to be effectively blindfolded when understanding those who use your product or service? Using the following scenario, we look at the importance of user research to gain insight from the people who really know. How well do you know your users? Do you understand what they need, want, like, or dislike? Sure. How do you know? The latest quantitative reports show usage figures, click rates, and drop-off rates. So you have data that tells you the duration of time a user is active on your service or product, if they completed a task or not, and what they clicked on. And has that data provided insight into what they like about your product or service? Or why they even use your product or service? No, but I already know what the next service or product offering is and what my users need. Do you have insights from users to know the features or services that they may like to have or need? I have the quantitative reports, and I am an expert in financial services. I have been in this game for a very long time, and I know what the users need. Too often, people bury their head in the sand, avoiding or ignoring evidence that doesn't fit their preconceptions. Everywhere in society, we find some form of bias. We don't consciously look to apply bias, but we all apply unconscious bias. It isn't driven by malice or intended to cause harm to others, but the consequences can be unexpected. Our daily interactions are surrounded by bias, from news articles on social media that present the author's guesses as facts, to the fact that men outnumber women in the boardroom. The same can also be said when decisions are made about what feature to develop or how a workflow or experience should work. If you haven't conducted any user research or engaged with your end users, you begin to develop and design products and services through your unconscious bias. What you believe to be in the best interest of your users may well be the opposite, leading to limited user adoption, brand damage, and costly reworking. Looking from the outside in and not engaging with your users can sometimes blindside you, causing you to miss the most obvious opportunities or issues that are staring you in the face. Instead, why not actually speak to your end users or even put yourself in their shoes? What you may find is that the answers you receive lead you down an alternative path that brings new ideas, products, or services which you may not have conceived otherwise. You might be thinking to yourself, okay, so if I speak to my users, understand what they like or dislike, and what they need, how does this help me or my business? Listening to your users and understanding their needs will benefit your business through informed decision-making using facts, not assumptions. Investing both financially and strategically in user research upfront before planning what is in your product or service's roadmap will allow you to create longer-term benefits that will deliver more value for your money than quick wins that may or may not deliver real business and user value. Tales of the un-UX-spected. What can happen when a company fails to invest in user research and thinks, we know what is best for our users? An investment bank had asked for a new trading platform to be designed and delivered. This platform would be developed for desktop computers. Access to the end users and the trading floor was not possible until a solution was ready for testing. The design process was led and directed by the product owner, who was the designated expert user. By not speaking to actual end users, the solution was being designed through the lens of the product owner and not through any end user insights. This inevitably led the design direction down a narrow path. Even though the solution that was designed was with the user's best interests at heart, because of the product owner's unconscious bias and assumptions, one glaring user need had been overlooked. When the day of testing arrived and the solution was put in front of the end users for the first time, it failed to meet their needs. It didn't fail because of the aesthetics or functionality, because it failed way before aesthetics or functionality could be tested. It failed because of a fundamental assumption about user behavior. The new platform solution had been designed to work on desktop monitors in a horizontal orientation, whereas the end users were actually working with their monitors in a portrait orientation. Had user research been conducted up front, then their needs and wants would have been identified and accounted for. No prior user research or analysis was conducted. Therefore, the end result increased costs for reworking the solution and had a negative impact on the brand and credibility of the product team. If you do not speak to end users or allow access to them before potentially committing budget for new platforms or platform upgrades, then you are designing and developing through an unconscious bias. Listen, learn from, and work with your users. They know what they need and want better than you do. Need some help finding that hidden gold dust? The ideas that are actually useful for your audience and for building your product roadmap? Please email TechSpark@Exilian.com.